and welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing part 1 of section 1 of the undeniable principles of Yahweh. To start, as I mentioned in the introduction, spiritual doctrines must come from spiritual principles that are laid out by Yahweh and Yeshua themselves. These principles are at the very core of their natures, of who they are. These provide the framework for the doctrinal beliefs and ideas. And should any of these beliefs or ideas contradict the principle, it is false, because it would contradict who they are. I listed examples before, but here now I would like to list and go into what I found them to be and what it means for me. There are 5 that I feel to be the main principles of faith. There are more, but these are the ones that I feel most strongly should affect how we examine the theology and the ideology and the agenda of Yahweh. 5 is the number of grace, and it is grace that is needed in order to become like Yeshua. It is the grace that he provides for us through his sacrifice and the breath of Hashem that we are able to do so. Principle number 1, honor the Creator with all your heart, your mind, and your strength. Growing up, I always felt that honoring the Creator meant going to church, praying, reading my Bible, not using his name as a swear word, and telling other believers about him. Never had it entered my mind that until recently that honoring the Creator meant honoring his creation. He built the world for us to live in and to take care of. And then I turned around along with the rest of the world and polluted it. Not only it, but myself. I was fine eating junk food and harming my body with chemicals and not honoring the fact that I am a product of his creation. And I discovered that by eating better and learning how to grow my own food safely and organically, along with exercising regularly, I can reduce, reuse, and recycle to show my willingness to take responsibility for my actions. Honoring his creation means honoring who he is as creator, understanding that he made the world and that it is his design and it is his plan, and by just saying we can live however we want, we can pollute, we can do whatever, it doesn't matter. He hadn't written anything down. He had never said have a green thumb, grow organically, eat organically. He never did any of these things. Well, that's wrong. He said honor my creation. You wouldn't go to someone's house that they built and tear it apart and say I honor you and I respect your work. No, you would say when you go into that person's house, you would take off your shoes. You wouldn't touch the walls. You would be gentle and respecting of the things around it. Then I discovered I wasn't honoring his name. And it wasn't the typical swear words and phrases that come to mind. It was that I didn't refer him by any name. He was just a God who had many, many names to choose from. And yet he did clearly state that his name was a strong tower, a refuge, a source by which he moves. Yeshua even went so far as to tell the name of Yahweh to his disciples, in a world where uttering the name was a great crime. King Solomon wrote, "Vanities, vanities, all is meaningless," which means meaningless, meaningless, all is meaningless when you take into account the strong definition. And by not giving him a name, by not calling him by his name, we then subject his name to the ultimate form of vanity. We render it meaningless, we render it mute, we render it powerless because we aren't addressing him, we aren't calling him. It was with these revelations that my heart towards the Creator became increasingly aware of what his plan was. I discovered that he didn't have a plan for my individual life, but rather a plan for which my individuality could be used and expressed. It was not about me, but rather about what he could accomplish through me if I allowed him. His agenda is not of this world or of its system, but rather a call to something different and new. This has to do with the concept of righteousness. Righteousness is not defined by good deeds so much as it is defined by the standard of Yahweh, to live in such a way that is pleasing to him, by representing him in his true nature. A God of love means more than just mercy and compassion, but is one who has an expectation of growth and improvement. To honor the Creator means to honor his creation, and that means not only the world around us, but ourselves. Well, that will do it for the first principle of honoring the Creator. Join me next time as I talk about the second principle, known as the Golden Rule.